Welcome to the Creative Plan Podcast Network. Join us as we share our favorite RPGs, one-shot games, tabletop games, reviews of items, and convention panels, and other exciting things that we run into from time to time. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Sign to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and RPGpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Hi guys, Jim and Kelly here from Creative Plan Podcast Network. It is
Hello.
August the 19th on hashtag RPGaDAY, where we talk about prompts daily and combine them with RPGs and tabletop gaming and all the other, fun stuff we love. So I'm just babbling because the word of the day is tower.
Yeah, nice reference to the Tower of Babel. That's funny.
You like that?
Yeah, that's cute. When I saw tower on the sheet, I thought of two things. I thought of dice towers. Who doesn't love a good dice tower? As a matter of fact, surprise! I'm having 3D towers printed. Locally, friend who has a 3D printer. I had backed, as you know, the Mythic Mugs, which are awesome. I love the Mythic Mugs, which are can holders, inspired by different D&D races and classes. So, but they just put out their last installment for the Kickstarter, which was Dice Towers. And I am having 3 of them printed, one for me, one for you, one for my sister.
And the mugs are awesome. They are epic.
Yeah, but this dice tower actually is the same size as a can, so it fits inside the mugs. So it's a lot of fun. I'm just excited. But so that was my first thought, because of course I just reached out to them and they're gonna start printing those. So yay! Although they also have in the last installment of the Kickstarter, they put out a mimic dice tower, which looks really cool. But I want the little ones that go inside the mug, because you can store it all in there, which is fantastic. I love that. But and then when the in-game type of thing that I thought of was when we were playing Princess of the Apocalypse, and we went to that one tower of the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember Riona O'Toole being convinced by one of the characters, the dwarf monk was convinced, and she jumped out the window of this tower that's like hundreds of feet in the air, and she just like jumps out of the window, because the guy did he could sort of fly, he had the did that spell where he slipped out of the I'm forgetting the name.
The Misty Step?
Yeah, Misty Step, thank you. And he pops outside, because we're at the very tip top of this tower, this huge, tall tower, because it's dedicated to it's an air temple. And Misty steps outside and, is basically levitating for all intents and purposes to get away from us. I knew I shouldn't have let go, relax my dagger at his throat. Damn.
I was so waiting for that.
So the monk, it gets convinced the characters to jump out the window, jumps out the window, and actually rolls well enough to grab the guy. So here she is holding on to this guy, floating hundreds of feet above the craggy ground. And of course, then she doesn't roll as well and loses her grip. Later on it starts to fall, but she didn't die. She actually rolled really well, and wound up being able to use her ladle of doom, sort of like a grappling hook, and got it caught in so she didn't fall to her death.
She got seriously Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah, she was close though. But that's when I think of a tower, I think of there's a tower of death.
The Tower of Doom.
Yeah. So that's what I thought of when I saw the prompt tower. How about you?
For me, I was thinking, about the tower in Princes of the Apocalypse, but also how the tower is a great reference for GMs to have a reverse dungeon. So instead of your adventures they're going down into the bowels of the earth in the dungeon, towers are great because it harkens back to that old Bruce Lee movie that never got completed, where he has to go up through the pagoda and go up to the different levels, where you can totally have an adventure set up where the tower is a reverse dungeon. Instead of going down, your adventures have to go up to the top. And, usually in a tower environment, you can create a sense of urgency that there's something going on in the very, very tip top that the adventures have to stop. So that's their motivation to hurry up and go through the levels.
And I would also think that it's much more direct, because there aren't going to be that as many side ways to go. So if you want a more direct route, not give the players as much room to, well, I'm in this town, I'm going to go to the tavern, or I'm going to go to the metalsmith, or I'm going to go to visit the temple, which could be spread out all across the town.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, nope, you have primary path. There's going to be some rooms, but you can really chart a direct, tour, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess actually that would make a really good, like, one shot.
Yeah.
Because you don't have as many alternate routes, unless of course you can Misty Step outside and fly.
And then, kind of takes the fun out of it. But I think the movie is Tower of Death is the Chinese title for Bruce Lee. But it's a great example of how you can theme too. Each level of the tower is its own theme. And of course, we GMs, you can always cheat and say it's a magic tower. That's why it's bigger on the inside.
That's true. And me, I always love a theme.
Mm-hmm. And even a friend a while back asked for me to make a great, over the weekend dungeon for her to play with her friends. And that's kind of what we did in that dungeon. Was literally, you had the library level. So you had, some books that animated and fly. And then you have the laboratory level. So then you had, a bubbling vat that had an ooze come out of it. So that was the theme. And then it goes on and on. Like the armory had animated armor and weapons, So towers are a great place that you can plop the group and say, hey, magical tower just reappeared. It only appears every 12 years. Go check it out.
Rumored to have vast wealth for the taking.
Or your parents were in the tower last when it was there. Follow the mystery. See if you can find out what the mystery is to the Tower of Power.
Clever.
Yeah, because, it's all about bringing things back to see if you can investigate further for the adventure.
Yeah.
That was me namelessly shame-dropping Tomorrow's Word, which is investigate, by the way. So make sure that the adventure doesn't tower over your adventures and they feel that they can knock off a chunk of the tower. But that's pretty much mine. Is I love using towers because in medieval era, towers were huge. Lookout towers to see invading armies come days before they occur. Towers are where you would retreat to defend yourself. So every D&D adventure we know of that has a castle, you have towers involved in it. So make sure that you're using your towers and always hold the high ground. Obi-Wan
It's
Kenobi
helpful.
says so. Because if you can hold the tower, your archer can control the countryside.
If it's a good archer, yes.
And of course, there's that joke about, towers with the spiral staircase, so that way the defenders can fight right-handed and the attackers are disadvantaged.
Unless, of course, you're from the Care Clan and the who are predominantly left-handed, so their castle stairs were built the opposite curve.
That's what happens when you have, non-union masons.
No. And speaking as somebody from the Care Clan, and I am left-handed.
You're
I'm
sinister.
like, awesome.
Hey, I mean, Viking bearded axemen. They used to fight left-handed because that way the people with the shields were totally committed to defending themselves and couldn't fight back.
Hey, well, I mean, I know that we've totally sidetracked, but when I took fencing in college, it was awesome. I was not a very good fencer, but I was the only left-handed person. And they're all like, what do I do? And every person I spar against is right-handed. So, I mean, the majority of the time they were sparring against somebody who was right-handed. So then when they would have to spar with me, they're like, I don't know what to do.
They're fighting mirror image instead of right to right.
Now, I'm sure if I had to spar with somebody who was left-handed, it probably would have been disconcerting because I was so used to sparring with right-handed people. But there's that.
There definitely is that. So, towers. Use them. Play with them. I mean, I'll include a link to the Mythic Mugs, Mimic one, because it's super creepy.
I don't think it's out yet on the...
Mythic Mugs have it on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's true. They do have the video for it, so.
But
they do have a web shop that you can buy them.
Yep.
The patterns.
And I will definitely include the links for that.
Yeah. But they make a great product. I just have to say, I'm totally excited for whatever future project they do because I love these so much.
And it was a really good Kickstarter too.
It was fantastic. I love the designs, and but we have totally digressed.
We have. Before this tower falls like Babel, we better wrap it up there. Hey, see, that's a classic tower story. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So that, or I'll also throw out God, what was the Egypt movie that had the folks from Game of Thrones where they built the tower?
Huh?
The movie that we watched. I mean, it's got the guy who's Horus and the guy who's Set.
You're talking about Gods of Egypt?
Yeah, that one. The whole concept of that movie was the building of the tower.
Yeah, whatever.
So tower's a concept there. You can have a villain whose goal is to build the tower, and the player's goal is to destroy the tower.
Yeah, I wasn't wholly impressed with that movie.
Well, I'm just talking about the plot. Every good GM knows how to steal a plot from a bad movie.
That's true. That is true.
Bad movies make great plots for RPGs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're babbling on, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up there for hashtag RPGaDay Tower. And then we'll be back tomorrow for Investigate. So look into that for tomorrow. Or investigate you later. I got the giggle. I had to work for it. Alrighty, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.